time there was truth in journalism, where brave men and women gave voice to the voiceless. But then the corporations bought the journalist, poisoning the news that we are fed. With those tainted sources, all we ever ate was a steady diet of status quo. This hijacked narrative hid the truth of mass suffering, injustice, and corruption throughout our land. Status quo, status quo, status quo, status quo. To expose this shift to oligarchy came a band of honest journalists. They left the studio and hit the streets to give the microphone back to the people. From sea to sea, the people were empowered to share their truth. Their voices no longer stifled, reclaimed their power. Join the media revolution now.
Hey there, Jordan Sheridan live. It is, what is today? I should start looking before I start the broadcast if it is Wednesday, May 13th, 2020. Hope everyone's having okay. Let's show you the entire United Corporations of America flag. I'm doing well. Hope everybody's feeling okay. The death count keeps rising, unfortunately. I think we're pressing soon to hit 85,000 deaths here related to coronavirus, and that number sadly is only going to go up as each of these states insanely reopen their economies. So obviously we'll continue covering this. A lot to discuss today. Criticisms of our progressive leaders, for sure. We give credit to our progressive champions when it is called for, and we have to light a fire under their behinds when they're acting like, what's the word? When they're getting used and abused politically. So we will get into that today. The Titanic is still very, 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 very threatening and sinking. Colin, if you're watching, can you resend me the Biden Titanic one? I seem to have deleted that. I wanted to show that one. But this is the current state of America where we all, the working class, are sinking after hitting the iceberg. And the bourgeoisie is popping champagne as they watch us sink. So wonderful graphic by Colin Tooley. Couple housekeeping notes. I will plug this throughout the broadcast, but we are having our members call tonight, 7:30 Eastern time. So a little under 2.5 hours now. We'll be having our members only call. Jen, myself, we have fun, we laugh, we cry, we scream with our members. It's on Zoom. We were doing it on Zoom before Zoom became the big thing during all the lockdowns and quarantines. So if you're not a member yet, you could sign up. 16 cents a day. That's $5 a month. Statuscoup.com/join. If you sign up before 7:30 Eastern time, 4:30 Pacific, you'll get the link to join our members only call. You don't have to be on video. You can mute your video if you don't want to be on video to listen. We take your questions and all that good stuff. We might have some new things to tell our members tonight that we're not going to say to everybody on YouTube. Right now we're at 1,809 members. We have lost over 100 paid members since all of this coronavirus economic devastation has happened. So as a result of losing those members, we have been trying to offset it with our GoFundMe. So keep on contributing. We just passed $101,000 yesterday. Thank you to Tim, $10 in the GoFundMe. Thank you, Michael, $10. Anonymous, $100. Mac, $10. Sarah, $25. James, $5. Eddie Lopez put us over the top during my live stream yesterday. $145. We appreciate every contribution. Everything helps, even as low as $5. Jen will leave the link in the super chat. It's also a super chat too, so you could contribute in many, many ways to Status Coup. So, someone get Jordan a comb. You know, I can't go get a haircut because they're not open here in New York. Stores are closed. So I do need a haircut. Right now, we'll just call this a healthy Jufro. Let me know if you like it or you don't like it. Maybe I'll grow it out. So remember to smash that like button. We got 140 people watching. Only 80 of you have pressed the like button. So I need every single one of you, please, right now, press that like button. The screen's going to go black for a second because I got to add a new graphic we have that Colin made. Make sure, if you're not on our text list, make sure to join us and you'll get text alerts when we're live. Text 370-370 and type in COUP. So that's 370-370, type in COUP to get on our text list. This is how we get around YouTube and them not notifying our audience when we're live. So definitely join us by joining our text list. It does not cost you anything to join our text list. And we are spending a lot of money to send out text messages. Each text costs us about $30, believe it or not. So, but it's worth it if we could alert people when we're live. I just got the text that we were live, so hopefully you are too. And notice that the audience is about to go, the audience size will go up significantly because the text just went out. So very, very important. If you're not on our text list, join our text list. So, Smeary just got the text. Wonderful. So, let's get right to it. I've been saying, for a year that this is the Titanic. If Joe Biden won the nomination, it would be the Titanic and re-elect Trump. I was told over and over and over by Morning Joe, by Wolf Blitzer, Jake Tupperware, Rachel Maddow, Chris Hayes, Paul Krugman, the New York Times, the Washington Post, the Associated Press, the Daily Beast, David Axelrod, David Plouffe, Gloria Borger, Dana Bosch, John King. I could go on with these gas bags. Biden's the safe choice. Biden's the electable choice. You remember that? Electable. And we'll get into Bernie. I have some criticisms of Bernie. But Biden's the electable choice. He's the safe choice, Uncle Joe Biden, middle-class Joe in Wisconsin and Michigan and Pennsylvania. I think you're wasting money. I get notified on YouTube basically every time. Fix the app. You'd be surprised because most people don't get notified even half the time. So, join our text list. We're not wasting money. So, what's amazing to me is we all knew we were being gaslit. We all knew that Biden was not the safest choice. We all knew that the choices Bernie Sanders made in not going after Joe Biden aggressively, it's not like Donald Trump and the Republican Party are gonna needed ideas from Bernie Sanders. Joe Biden is barely beating Trump right now nationally, and Trump hasn't even gone after him. They're just starting to run ads against him. Hasn't gone after him. Wait till he starts calling him NAFTA TPP Joe. Wait till the ads start with all the weird, creepy video of Biden sniffing little children's hair and touching people weirdly. Wait till Biden, the videos of Biden and pushing the Iraq war, the videos and the ads lying about his civil rights records. None of this has even come yet. So, what's amazing to me, new CNN poll, and I actually looked through the poll, it's so shocking. Let's just make a point here. It's so shocking that CNN, during the primaries, their polls always oversampled landline phones. Their polls always oversampled landline phones, which tend to be older people. But now that Bernie Sanders is no longer in the race, all of a sudden, CNN is able to find more cell phones than landlines. Isn't that interesting? Because, most people under 40 don't have landlines. Actually, most people under 50, I would argue, don't have landlines. The study was conducted for CNN via telephone, an independent research company. It was conducted May 7th through the 10th. A sample of 1,112 respondents. The landline totals were 435, and the cell phones were 677. Hey, Jen, you've painfully gone through a lot of these polls during the primary. Do you remember going through those polls? Do you remember a lot of polls where, if it was Bernie and the Democratic candidates, that you saw more cell phones sampled than landlines? Maybe I could count one or two polls that did that. But now all of a sudden that Bernie's out, these polling companies are able to find a more equal distribution of young versus old. Isn't that interesting that they're able to do that? Just shocking. Would love your thoughts, Jen, if you're in the super chat. So this poll, decent sample size, over 1,000 people. This poll, you just can't make this up. In the battleground states, here's the map Colin made. Maine, New Hampshire, Virginia, North Carolina, Florida. Believe it or not, Georgia is now a battleground. Pennsylvania, Ohio, Michigan, Wisconsin, Minnesota, Colorado, New Mexico, Arizona, and Nevada. So those are 15 battleground states. Obviously, Ohio, Pennsylvania, Michigan, Wisconsin tossed the election in 2016 to Trump. Those were the key states in 2016 that helped Trump become the president. Trump is beating Biden in those battleground states by 7 percentage points. 7 percentage points. Trump is beating Biden in the key battleground states. And no offense to you guys if you don't live in these key battleground states. But if you don't live in these key battleground states, then frankly, you don't matter. Because the United Corporations of America, the way we do our elections, unlike many others, is not based on who actually gets the most votes in the totality of the country. It's just based on, a couple states. So these are the states that matter. Some of them I don't know if I would consider battleground, but the majority of these here are battleground states. Trump, with real unemployment, not like the official unemployment. Official unemployment, 14.7%. Horrific. The real unemployment number, 24.9%. Let's just round it to 25%. So with real unemployment at 25%. Reese Mack, this is live. It ain't a premiere. This is live. 25%. The Democratic or presumptive nominee is down 7 points. That is absolutely pathetic. Pathetic. And we were lied to say, this guy's the safe choice, this guy's the electable choice. Just like the same gas bags lied that the DNC was hacked by Russia. These same gas bags lied about weapons of mass destruction. They manufactured consent mainly to convince older voters that, you might not love Biden. What did Jill Biden say that time? Hey, you might not really like Joe. You might not love him. You might like other people in healthcare, but at the end of the day, you gotta hold your nose and vote for the person who's gonna beat Trump. But no actual evidence was ever provided. Why is Joe Biden the safest choice? Actually, if you actually read the polls, by the way, we got 300 people watching right now. 182 of you have pressed that like button. Can I get another 100 or so of you to please smash that like button? And by the way, if you came to this a little bit late, 7:30 Eastern time, be there or be square. Our members only call. Jen, myself, and hopefully a lot of you through Zoom. Statuscoup.com/join. Join us before 7:30 Eastern, 4:30 Pacific. You'll get the link. You don't have to be on video. You could mute your video and just be on audio. We usually take at least 20 to 25 questions most of the time, and we have a good time. It's a lot of TMI. We might have some news for you tonight too. Who knows? Sign up, statuscoup.com/join. So it gets worse actually. But to be fair, Biden is up nationally, but unfortunately, nationally isn't really what matters. It's the key battleground states. So 51% of registered voters back Biden, while 46% back Trump. So, Biden nationally is up. What is that? 47, 48, 49, 50, 51. 5 points, which is not even that big of a lead at this point. It could get bigger as the economy continues to collapse, but it's kind of striking that, this was just taken within recent days. The economy already has collapsed, and in the key battleground states, Trump's up 7 points. That's a pretty significant lead in the states that matter. But it actually gets worse. And excuse me, because the screen's going to go black for a second. We didn't get this loaded by the time I went live. We're not 60 minutes here, but it'll be good. It'll be good. So let's take a look. Under 50. Under 50, to me, is really, really bad for Biden. Let's take a look. Let me just load it. La-da-dee, la-da-da. What will be, will be. Okay. Under 50. Thank you, Colin, for the wonderful graphic. Look at these favorability ratings in the battleground states. Again, these 15 states. Trump, under 50. 44% favorability, 53% unfavorable. So I wasn't expecting 44% favorable for Donald Trump under the age of 50. I was expecting much lower and actually higher unfavorable. But Biden is viewed under the age of 50 less favorably than Trump. You can't make this stuff up. You can't make this up. Joe Biden, who was called the safest candidate, Joe Biden, who was called the electable candidate, Joe Biden that had Obama basically steamroll all the other candidates out of the race within 3 days, has a less favorable rating among people under the age of 50 than Trump. Now, to be fair, it's not that much less favorably, but 40% favorability rating? Gee, I wonder why. When you don't offer people under the age of 50 anything, really. Oh, thank you for lowering the Medicare age to 60 is your proposal. Doesn't help anyone under 50. But the Trump at 44%, how is that even possible? A paper bag should have a higher favorability rate. Probably does, than Trump among people under 50. But then, again, sorry, screen's going to go black because we didn't load this in time. Over 50, I would expect it to be a lot better for Biden. Well, I expected wrong. Trump, 49 even. Favorable, 49. Unfavorable, 49. Biden, 50% favorability rating, so a point higher than Trump. And 44% unfavorable, so a couple points lower than Trump. But, over 50? That frankly, Biden's really core demographic was over 65. That was his moneymaker in the primary. But over 50, he should have above 60%, 65%, 70%. above the age of 50. Come on, boomers, what are you doing here? I thought you loved the slow diet of incrementalism and gradualism. But the fact that Trump, who also did well among older voters, his unfavorable is only 5 points worse than Biden? Oh my God. Do you know what this is telling me, folks? Do you know what these numbers are telling me, having covered a lot of elections? Hey, Colin, I see in the live chat. Do me a favor. Can you send me the Biden sinking in the Titanic, the latest one where you actually, it had hit the iceberg? I can't find it, and I wanted to show it. This shows to me, even though the narrative is, oh, amid an economic crisis, we're going to have unprecedented voting. This shows to me you have two pretty, I don't want to say unpopular because Trump does have a feverish base, but I see a similar dynamic playing to Hillary Clinton versus Donald Trump, where you have two candidates that most people are not really enamored with either way, besides pure partisans that are diehard into politics. Everybody else who's not diehard into politics, they don't like Trump, but they can't get excited for Biden because he's not offering anything. You know what happens when that sentiment is out there? The vote is depressed. The vote is suppressed. You have a lower voter turnout, which Hillary Clinton had. As I always say, MSNBC won't tell you this, but Hillary Clinton, compared to Obama in 2012, had 5% less African Americans come out for her, had 5% less Latinos come out for her, and had 6% less age 18 to 29 come out for her. So these numbers are not showing a huge, upswing for Biden. And particularly the under 50, if you can't crack 50%, under 50 favorability, and like I said in the beginning, CNN actually polled a decent amount of people. And they polled more people via cell phone than they did landline. So that shows you there was a lot of younger people polled. It's so funny and interesting how they were able to poll more younger people, a more representative number of younger people once Bernie was out. When Bernie was in, we somehow couldn't manage to find an equal representation of under 50 versus older 50. As we showed you throughout the primary, they were wildly oversampling older voters. But to me, there's nothing Biden can do to change this other than, radically overhauling his entire presentation, jumping on the bandwagon of Medicare for all, a Green New Deal, banning fracking, starting to talk about ending these wars, canceling student loan debt. No, it's not April Fool's. That's the only way you're going to excite the under 50 crowd. Really the under 40 crowd, but in this case, the under 50 crowd. And he ain't going to do any of that because his donors won't let him. His donors will not let him. Because it's not ultimately up to Joe Biden. It's not even ultimately up to Donald Trump. It's up to the donors. They pull the strings. That's why we live in the United Corporations of America, folks. Devin Watson, $5 in the super chat. Appreciate it, Devin. By the way, our GoFundMe's still going. And as I told you yesterday, we just made a big purchase of a brand new Live View. The top of the line Live View 600. We were able to purchase it because of your continued GoFundMe contributions. In English, Live View is what we use to go live when we're in the field. We just upgraded from the second to best version to the top version, thanks to your contributions. So thank you. Keep it coming in the GoFundMe if you can. Jen just purchased a brand new computer for me, which we'll get into in the members call tonight. So we definitely could use more contributions to cover these costs while we can't go in the field. So let's look a little closer at this poll, looking at each age demographic, because to me, if this doesn't change and change quick for Biden, I mean, it's over before it started. And it's kind of pathetic that he has these numbers considering a real unemployment level of 25%. This poll was taken like a couple days ago. So the economy was already collapsed when people were polled about this. So if you look at the specific age groups, there we go. Biden, 18 to 34. So that's the millennials. 33%. 33%. Favorability. 55% unfavorable. That's the kiddies. A lot of you watching. 55% unfavorable among millennials. Who are you going to pick? Amy Klobuchar or Kamala Harris? Yeah, that'll do it. That'll do it. Gretchen Whitmer of Michigan, that'll get the millennials out. 35 to 49. I mean, better, but not even breaking even. 44 favorable, 45. 50 to 64, so this should be a commanding difference. 48, 45. That's 3 percentage points favorability. 65, which is his core group. 20 points, 20-point differential, it's good, but the bottom line is you can't win. You know, they keep saying, oh, Biden could bring back the Obama coalition. Well, the Obama coalition, you know, most young people, including me at the time, got hoodwinked, thought Obama was a progressive. He was obviously a Citigroup sellout. Citigroup picked his cabinet, never went after bankers. You know, a Republican health care plan hatched out of the Heritage Foundation, droning half the world. I mean, we could go on. But Obama coalition was a lot of young people. Biden's over 20 points down among millennials. Does the Democratic Party and the Democratic Party's main strategy to fix that? The Democratic Party's main strategy to fix that is to voter shame millennials. Thank you, Jason Milton, $10 in the super chat. On Morning Joe today, they were slobbering for TPP Joe's strategy of writing it out the election in his basement, while Trump bundles the pandemic response. What do you think about the Dems laying low? Yeah, obviously, you know, TPP Joe in the basement is working out so well since he's 7 points down in the critical states he needs to win. To be fair to Joe Biden and his campaign, it's only one poll. A lot of things could change. A lot of things can change, Jason, and thank you for the super chat. But why this is so troubling, and thank you for the super chat, Devin Watson, $5 in the super chat. By the way, we got 400 people watching. 264 of you have pressed that like button. Can I get another 150 of you to please press that like button? Fake it till you make it. Even if you don't like me, just press the like button. Even if you're a troll, just press that thumbs up button. By the way, we're going to get to this ridiculous task force bullshit too. Woo! Demonetized. So, the thing that's really... No, he cannot win just bunkering in the basement, where, by the way, he's barely coherent when he does do interviews. But why this is so troubling? You know, I don't want to play pundit here, but I've traveled enough and I've interviewed enough people in the last 5 years on the ground. I've covered 2 campaigns, Standing Rock, Flint, East Chicago, Alabama, North Carolina. I've been to a lot of places, thanks to you, too. I think we're starting to learn that people don't vote only, I mean, yes, some people do, but most people don't vote just out of fear or just out of hate for one candidate. That's what the media thinks. That's what these coastal elites think in New York and D.C., that Biden will win because the anti-Trump vote will be so high. That's what Hillary ran on. And that's why they were delusional enough to give the finger to progressives. Let me pick Tim Kaine, a Republican, basically. We don't need to cater to progressives. We'll try to get moderate Republicans and never Trumpers, which is exactly what Biden's doing right now. Reports have come out that that's what there might be a Republicans for Biden group coming out with figures like Bill Kristol, another warmonger. So the scary thing about this, scary if you really don't want Trump. I don't want Trump to get reelected, but I'm also not cheerleading here for Joe Biden either. I'm not taking this get shot in the face or poisoned choice. Look at this. All of this is before Trump has even really laid a finger on Biden. And of course, Biden's campaign is going to hit Trump with everything but the kitchen sink. But honestly, what more horrible things can the American people learn about Donald Trump that they don't already know? I mean, I think the cake is kind of baked as far as viewpoint on Trump. Bernie, and I criticized him during the campaign. I'm criticizing him now because I don't think he's doing enough. Bernie didn't lay a finger on Joe Biden. Let's keep it real. I'm not calling him a sellout. I'm not calling him a fraud, a coward like some others. Even people I respect that are saying those things, I respectfully disagree with going that far. I think you could criticize Bernie on specific things without tossing aside everything he has done. I think it's a little too much to call. I think, yes, people are angry and frustrated, but that's not reason to call someone who has worked very, very hard and helped move progressive goals along a coward and a sellout. I don't subscribe to that. Sorry if you don't like it. There's the door. If you want to hear he's a sellout and a fraud, you could go elsewhere. I think this is a false choice where, you're part of the Dem establishment if you don't go crazy and just, whenever you get angry at someone, call them a sellout. I think that's high school thinking and stupid. But anyway, all of this is before Biden has had a glove laid on him. Trump hasn't done one ad or tweet yet calling him NAFTA TPP Joe. He hasn't done one ad or tweet yet calling him of his videos, sniffing children's hair and the weird things he's done. Hasn't done one ad. Just Bernie should have done, and I don't understand why he didn't. It was absurd. One ad hitting him on his lies about being arrested in apartheid South Africa and being on the front lines of the civil rights sit-ins, palling around with Strom Thurmond, segregationists in the 1970s working to stop busing. Him talking about, I don't think the black man should get a head start to even the race with the white man. Bernie didn't do any of this. You think Trump's going to hold back? Swirly Swirl, $5. Thoughts on the movement for a People's Party that Our Revolution LA has moved to? Nick Brana's thing? I've interviewed Nick a couple times. I'm not against a third party movement. My thing is, yes, to building a progressive third party, but what are the logistical problems? Because maybe Nick has talked about this and I just haven't heard it, but Democratic governors control ballot access. So until you could convince me that we will not have the challenges if a Bernie or a progressive ran as a MPP candidate or whatever the party would be and could get on every ballot, if that is neutralized and that's not an issue, I don't see this hostile takeover of the Democratic Party happening. Ivan, F this channel. Bye-bye. Goodbye. Goodbye, Ivan. To people who say F this channel, if your views are not 100% regurgitated back to you, bye-bye. I'm not naming names, but there are people on YouTube in the progressive space, right-wing space, neoliberal space, that just say whatever they have to say that their viewers want to hear for clicks. I'm not going to do that. So, oh well. And by the way, part of critical thinking, if you're down with critical thinking, is, it's okay to disagree sometimes. You don't have to be 100% all the time agree with people. It's crazy. So, Trump has not even laid a finger. The only thing he's done so far is run ads on Biden's coziness with China, which is going to be devastating to Biden because there's a lot there. So these numbers now, 7 points down, and nobody's laid a real finger on you. It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable. Jordan, you're soft on Bernie? Yeah. Wait for my next topic. See how soft I am on Bernie. I'm soft on Bernie. I've criticized Bernie throughout the campaign. I've been criticizing him now. I guess you're soft if you don't call someone a coward and a fraud. Get the fuck out of here. I know I shouldn't curse at viewers, but honestly, I just, this mentality people have, and I saw it in 2016. By the way, the same people who were calling Bernie a sellout in 2016 when he endorsed Hillary Clinton came running back to him when he ran again. So stop acting like hysterical children. He's a sellout. Just because somebody is doing certain things that you don't agree with right now, it doesn't make someone a sellout or a coward. He's just not doing what you want right now. I don't think you thought he was a sellout or a coward when he was running against the entire political establishment, the media establishment, the banking establishment, the fossil fuel establishment, the big pharma establishment. Jesus. Get out of here. So, this is really bad territory. And what I'm starting to see is the same exact stuff as 2016. Instead of making a serious pivot, they're doubling down on the anti-Trump. Joe Biden has not proposed one real thing to actually help people amid the coronavirus pandemic. He is not jumping on to Bernie's bill with Kamala Harris and Ed Markey. I don't care whether Kamala Harris and Ed Markey mean it or not. They got a bill in there, $2,000 a month, individuals, $4,000 a month for married couples, and those married couples would receive an additional $2,000 per children. That's something real. He hasn't signed on to that, Biden, even though his potential vice president, Kamala Harris, has. He hasn't said a word about Rashida Tlaib's bill for a replenishable debit card until the coronavirus is no longer devastating economies. Hasn't said a word. A refundable credit card of $2,000 a month. Hasn't said a word about Pramila Jayapal's proposal that Nancy Pelosi just tossed in the garbage and wouldn't include in her garbage bill that I went through yesterday. Pramila Jayapal's bill for the America to do everything, to do what Europe is doing, and just the government cover payrolls so people don't have to be unemployed, that people can continue working or getting paid, so unemployment wouldn't be so high, people would still have health care in this ridiculous employer-based system. Thank you for the super chat. Robert Copeland, $5. Anat, this is going to the swear jar as I think we will need it. So bring out the swear jar. Fuck, 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 Robert. Thank you. Marlin 3D, hashtag Movement for a People's Party. Join now. Like I said, I've interviewed Nick a few times. I like Nick. I'm not opposed to it. Am I missing anything? Thank you, Lawrence Johnson, getting us started in the GoFundMe today. $10. We are now 101,170. So on our march to 102,000, less than $9,000 to go till we hit our goal of 110,000. So this brings me to, because reports are that Biden's, they say he's considering 12 people, that Biden's shortlist for vice president is Amy Klobuchar, who I think he's going to choose, and Kamala Harris. Oh, so, is Amy Klobuchar? Hey, no offense to our older folks watching. If you're in this 18 to 34 bucket, tell me, is Amy Klobuchar getting your juices flowing as vice president if you're a millennial? Is that going to jack up Biden's favorable rating? How about Kamala Harris? Specifically, millennial black people. You like Kamala Harris and her, jailing innocent black men and corruption as California's Attorney General? Is it just, oh, she's a black woman, so you get points for woke? You can't make this up. So Biden's, this was according to CNN, an article I read. Thank you, Lena Dale, $10 in the super chat. And by the way, we got almost 500 people watching. A reminder, in 2 hours from now, we have our members call. 7:30 Eastern, 4:30 Pacific. Sign up right now. You'll get the link to join our monthly members-only call on Zoom. 16 cents a day, $5 a month to be a member. You get great bonus content and our members call. You don't have to be on video, by the way, to join. I mean, you don't have to be on video to be on the members call. You can mute your video. Hope we get a lot more signups before the members call at 7:30. Jen and I have a lot to discuss with you members. So all of this is absurd. And you want to know something? I'm not big on predictions, but I do have a prediction. I think it's a pretty bad sign when the Democratic most electable choice is down 7 points in the most critical states, and he can't construct full sentences most of the time, and he has Lawrence Summers advising him on economic matters. And his top donors are in the banking, hedge fund, and healthcare industries. And his strategy to turn this around is to do podcasts from his basement, occasional softball interviews with George Stephanopoulos and MSNBC hosts, and not actually propose anything. Oh, a good segue. We're going to get out of this with those amazing task forces. And for those of you saying I don't take Bernie to task, here, let's take Bernie to task. The picks are in. The picks are in for the Bernie Biden task forces. Task forces. This is what we got as progressives for endorsing Joe Biden. If you're Bernie Sanders, we got some task forces so we could come up with some ideas for future President Biden, so he could take those ideas and wipe his gross ass with it. So here's Congresswoman Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. After conferring with grassroots activists and climate allies, I am accepting Bernie Sanders' nomination to co-chair the Climate Change Unity Task Force with former Secretary of State John Kerry. Our planet is dangerously imperiled, and wherever there are decisions made, the people must have a voice. Oh boy, oh boy. I've always believed that real change happens not with a panel or a task force, but in everyday people organizing mass movements to demand change. Yet we should also commit to showing up everywhere, every space where there are decisions and formative conversations with movement voices. I am also encouraged that we're not in this fight alone, to be on a team with Kathy Flowers, Pramila Jayapal, Sarah Nelson, Abdul El Sayed, Stephanie Kelton, and Varsha Prakash of the Sunshine. Sorry, I'm mispronouncing her name. Of the Sunrise Movement and others pushing for 21st century public policy means we are in this together. Inside pressure, outside organizing. Oh my God. Oh my God. This is pathetic. I think I want to read something David Sirota wrote on this because it, I think, puts it well. All these thoughts bubbled to the surface as I read the celebratory declarations about Joe Biden's new policy, quote, task forces. They are a mix of party dinosaurs, corporate zombies, and some terrific progressive voices. And we are asked to earnestly evaluate and applaud the complexion of the task force as if they are a genuine endeavor. as if they are something truly real. There is already hand-wringing and celebration about who is and isn't on these task forces. But step back from that and consider the bigger picture. Consider how condescending, how mocking the entire task force dance really is. It's as if the Biden campaign went into the basement of the DNC, dusted off a 3-ring binder from 1983 titled How to Run Campaigns, and turned to page 863B for the section entitled, quote, Post-Primary Unity Blueprint, and we are all expected to pretend that this is something real. But of course, we all know it's not real, because we know we don't suffer from a lack of good policy ideas that require new task forces to litigate. We know that we instead suffer from a lack of political will and political power. We all know in our hearts that we don't really need another climate task force. We know we just need a Democratic nominee who commits to supporting existing Green New Deal legislation. We all know we don't really need a healthcare task force. We know we just need a Democratic nominee who commits to not vetoing Medicare for All legislation that is already co-sponsored by a majority of U.S. House Democrats. You can go to davidsorota.com for his newsletter that I was just reading from. So, let me explain to you why this is ridiculous. And frankly, Bernie Sanders is either hiding something from us and there's some deal that we don't know about where we're actually going to get a lot more, but he just can't release it yet. I don't think that's true. Or he's just extremely naive. It's one or the other. My guess is it's the extreme naivete. First of all, it's not just the task force. We have to look before the task force. There was reporting that Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez kind of, sort of struck down, but really didn't strongly strike it down. There was reporting that Ocasio-Cortez had hired some more traditional advisors, got rid of, her really aggressive progressive chief of staff. Her communications director is no longer there. And her new strategy was to try and, this inside-outside strategy. And the inside strategy would be trying to create relationships with the Democratic Party dinosaurs that David Sirota suggested. And try and create relationships and courtships and not be so hostile. She has not endorsed many primary challengers to incumbents like we expected her to do. I think she's endorsed one in the Bronx and Jessica Cisneros, who lost down in Texas. That's it. So, of course, you have to compromise as an elected official sometimes. She's elected. So is Jayapal. So is Tlaib, Omar, Ro Khanna. We wish, as progressive outsiders, not in Congress, we could just burn the whole place down. I'd never have to compromise. But what are you compromising about? And are you ever getting anything for compromising? Are you getting anything tangible for these compromises? Are you getting anything tangible for courtships and calling Nancy Pelosi a corrupt sellout? She's a sellout. Are you getting anything for calling her Mama Bear and voting for these shithole bills? To be fair, AOC was the only one who voted against the corporate bailout bill. But, hey, Jen, could you text Karen? She just texted me, can you talk? Tell her I'm live. I don't want to text her right now. The documentary thing. So, almost 500 people watching, by the way. We got 391 likes. Let's get another 100 more of you to press that like button. The more people that press like, we could get this over 500 live viewers. And please, 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 keep those GoFundMe contributions coming. Really makes a difference. Oh, Gretchen Whitmer, the governor of Michigan, just donated $8. Ruth, $10. By the way, if you're not paying attention, somebody keeps creating these accounts. So Mitch McConnell donated the other day, George W. Bush, Joe Biden, Donald Trump, Barron Trump. So thank you to whoever's, it's real money, just fake names. So we'll take it. Thank you. Now just $12 from $101,200. Let's keep it coming if we can. So what? No, I didn't call AOC a sellout. Stop making rumors, skeptical mantis. But if you're going to make compromises, what are you getting for those compromises? If you're going to play ball with Nancy Pelosi and call her mama bear and vote for most of these shitty bills and not be adversarial and not endorse progressive challengers to incumbents. She has not endorsed many progressive challengers to incumbents. What are we getting for it? As far as I can see, what we're getting for it is a task force. In theory, AOC's notion of I have always believed that real change happens not with a panel or a task force, but in everyday people organizing mass movements to demand change. Yet we should also commit to showing up everywhere, every space where there are decisions and formative conversations with movement voices. Yeah, I agree with the second thing. We should show up everywhere. But the problem is, if you're going to play ball and try and do these inside baseball strategies, you have to have a bigger fight on the outside. You can't just settle for task forces as some great thing when you're not doing anything on the outside. A task force is a bullshit thing. The fact that you even need a task force when you have real unemployment at 25%, when you have, at this point, over 30 million people have lost their health care, you need a task force to come up with ideas for these things? It's a joke. But the bigger joke is what AOC is talking about, and what Rashida Tlaib is talking about, and what Ilhan Omar is talking about, and Ro Khanna is talking about, and Bernie Sanders, I guess. I don't know if he's talking about it, but it seems this is what they think, is, yes, we need to organize and agitate on the outside, but we also need to have an inside game. But we're not organizing on the outside right now. I've been talking about it, and Jimmy's been talking about it, and others have been talking about it. Where is Bernie Sanders organizing his massive email list and his massive army for a rent strike, for a strike on mortgages, utilities, student loans, electrical bills, everything? Where is the progressive movement during Great Depression level economic calamity organizing on the outside, agitating on the outside? Where is the organized opposition? You want to be on your task force? Fine. But where is your call outs of Speaker Pelosi, of Chuck Schumer? Where are your public criticisms? And yes, we can't physically get together. Where are the organized progressive movement calling out Pelosi for these ridiculous bills? I went through it yesterday. $1 trillion to states and cities. Yeah, I explained yesterday. Generally, when the federal government sends states and cities money, about a quarter of it actually goes where it's supposed to, and the rest of it gets diverted to donors. The corporate media won't tell you that. I will tell you that, because I've been on the ground reporting for the last 5 years. Go ask the people of Flint if the $170 million under Obama that Congress earmarked for Flint, go ask them if it actually went to them. It didn't. Go ask the people of New Orleans if all the federal money for Katrina actually went towards Katrina hurricane relief. Go ask the people that were affected by the BP oil spill if the federal money actually went there. That's a whole nother story. Lobbyist bailouts, expanding the PPP program to 501c6, which are lobbyists on K Street, a SALT cap reduction for wealthy people, 501c4s getting extended PPP, dark money groups, but we couldn't muster, we just couldn't fit it into this bill, Pelosi said. The government covering payrolls. And by the way, this bill is dead on arrival anyway. It was just a messaging bill. McConnell's not going to go for it. Trump's not going to go for it. And the opposition to that is Pramila Jayapal behind closed doors. Not publicly, behind closed doors, expressing concern, and Ro Khanna expressing concern that Pelosi isn't taking their proposals into consideration, into serious consideration. This is why we keep losing. The Republicans, as racist and misogynist and homophobic and Islamophobic as they are, they don't fuck around. They take political prisoners. They don't create task force and declare victory with their task forces. They don't, work to improve the Republican Party platform. I'm talking to you, Bernie Sanders, on that. They organize. They excite their, in their case, crazy base. And in this case, you have an active progressive base that would back you up every step of the way. So I wouldn't have a problem if AOC was on a task force or Bernie was on a task force and there was task forces. Fine. If there was real organizing in Great Depression level economic times to oppose the Trump and the Democrats, because they're all working together. Trump and McConnell could have not got that corporate bailout, that bank robbery, the first bill through, without Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer going along with it. Oh, they after the fact. Oh, I'm concerned about the oversight. Why weren't you concerned about the fact that we were giving different estimates between $4 and $6 trillion of free money to corporations that don't need it? Why wasn't that the concern? Who gives a shit about the oversight? Once the money's out the door, oversight doesn't exist in the United States government. Go ask the Pentagon. We couldn't even audit the Pentagon. 500 people watching right now, 433 likes. And by the way, if you're a new subscriber, make sure you press subscribe. If you're a new viewer, make sure you press subscribe right on the bottom. You won't always agree with me, but I'm sure you'll be entertained. And make sure you join our text list so you can get texts when we're live. Text 370-370. That's 370-370. Type in COUP. Jen and I were texting earlier, not to throw you under the bus, Jen, and Jen said, well, I don't agree with the task force, but I agree with AOC being on it. Like, if you have the opportunity, why not? Yes, that I don't strongly disagree with that. But the point is, what she's saying isn't actually happening. There is no outside to the inside right now. There is no outside organizing going on. The organizing that needs to go on the outside right now is take no prisoners, rent strikes, I think a general strike when we can physically go out safely. And frankly, people need to stop. Not everyone can do this. But people who can, including me, not to be a hypocrite here, need to stop using Amazon, need to stop using these companies that are destroying this country and have bought off our government. If we have a coordinated strike against Amazon, this economy will be brought to its knees. That's when these government officials that are bought off by corporate America will start listening. That's what's going to do it, not task forces. When you hit their donors where it matters. Because at the end of the day, you're not, what I think Ocasio-Cortez might not understand, and I'm not trying to say this in a condescending way, she had a great victory there, an upset victory, so I'm not calling her naive, but what I think they're not getting, you're not negotiating with Joe Biden. You're not negotiating with Joe Biden. You're not negotiating with the people he appoints to his little task force. Thank you, James Caraval. $5. On a roll, Jordan. Keep it going, buddy. Thank you. Hope to see you on the members call tonight. Swirly Swirl, $5. Shop local. Appreciate it. And I agree. You're not negotiating with them because they don't make the fucking decisions. The people behind me make the decisions. Those corporate CEOs that fund and buy off Pelosi and Schumer, they pull the strings. And Uncle Joe and Aunt Hillary and Aunt Nancy are the ones that do their bidding. So it really does not matter. It does not matter what they tell you. AOC, with all due respect, Bernie, with all due respect, do you really think you're going to say something profound on a task force that's going to convince consultants, former lobbyists, and corporate Democrats that I've seen the light, Medicare for all, a Green New Deal? How'd that work out for Nomiki Konst, Josh Fox, James Zogby, and the others who were on the progressive side of the Unity Commission? We got some reforms, but did you get Medicare for all on the platform? Did you get a Green New Deal on the platform? Did you get banning fracking in the platform? And I'm not knocking them. I'm not knocking the progressives that were on the Unity Commission. But these are all optical illusions. They're not real things. And the fact that you need a commission or a task force shows the problem right there. You shouldn't need these optical task forces or unity commissions when the problems are glaring, blinking red lights. But you know why Joe Biden won't actually do Medicare for all? It's not even because he doesn't believe in it. I think he does believe in it. It's because some of his top donors and his top bundlers, it's not just the donors who donate directly, it's the bundlers who raise hundreds of thousands and millions of dollars for the campaign. These are Biden and Trump and whatever, they're fundraisers basically, who go into their network and raise the money for the campaigns. Bernie has shown you don't need to do it that way. Biden don't give a shit. He wants to do it the good old way, the corrupt way. Same with Trump. The bundlers and the donors are in healthcare industry. They're in the private healthcare industry. They're in the pharmaceutical industry. They're hedge fund people. They are bankers. They are private equity scoundrels. They are the ones making the decisions. Karen Webster, $2. Task force to buy progressive cooperation, #resist. So on this, listen, you want to call Bernie certain things, go ahead. And you know what? If I lose viewers because I'm not going to foam at the mouth and call him a coward and a sellout and all that stuff, okay. If you are really the type of person, and I'm not criticizing you, I could take criticism. If you want to criticize me, that's fine. That's just part of doing this as a job and a career. But I would say, because I actually want the progressive movement to grow, that you go to a really dangerous place mentally, but more importantly, a non-productive place when you immediately, hashtag sellout, hashtag cancel, hashtag I'm gone, because the person you're watching or reading doesn't 100% agree with you on every single thing and isn't foaming at the mouth like on every single thing that you believe. So I'm never going to be that way. I'm always going to tell you what I think, and what I think is actually informed by 5 years of travel. I've been to, I think, almost 40 states. I've interviewed thousands of people at this point. So it doesn't mean I'm right on everything, but I'm not just some nobody ranting. So if you can't deal with, if you think everything needs to be lockstep agreement all the time, and we can't disagree on certain things, if that triggers you, then you're a snowflake and goodbye. Sorry. So, by the way, I lost subscribers during the campaign. People didn't like that I was criticizing Bernie after debates. People didn't like that I was calling him, saying, Bernie, take off the gloves, you're acting weak. So I lost people that I was too hard on Bernie, and now I'm losing people because I'm too soft. You're never going to make everyone happy, so whatever. But the point is, you don't want intellectual rabies, Jordan? I'm out of here. That's funny. But the bottom line is, this outside organizing isn't happening. Yes, you got groups like the Sunrise Movement. They've done great things. That is outside organizing. You got the Fight for 15. There are pockets around America right now organizing rent strikes, but we don't have the faces of the progressive movement in Congress leading that effort. I haven't received an email from Bernie on rent strikes or AOC on rent strikes. Yes, it's easy for me to criticize as a YouTube person. I'm not in Congress. I don't know everything they're dealing with. But AOC did say when she came in, I'm never going to stop being an activist. Well, right now, you're kind of not doing the activism. Because I don't really know if I'm Pramila Jayapal or I'm Ro Khanna, what have you gotten for this cooperation, for this deference to Queen Pelosi? What have you gotten for that? What have you gotten for biting your tongue, AOC, or calling her mama bear, or doing magazine covers with Pelosi? Rolling Stone magazine covers with Pelosi. You know what you've gotten? She realizes she can use you. She realizes she can fool you. And she realizes she can neutralize you. So people ask me, what do you recommend, Jordan? Here's what I recommend. I recommend Bernie's already endorsed Biden. It's over. So I don't agree with the fact that he endorsed Biden when he did. He did say he was going to endorse the Democratic nominee, so he just followed through. I don't think it should have been when he did it, and I don't think it should have been getting actually nothing tangible. Lowering the Medicare age to 60 is a joke. And everything else that Biden is doing is a joke. But Bernie, AOC, Rashida Tlaib, Ilhan Omar, Ro Khanna, Mark Pocan, Pramila Jayapal, we have more numbers. We don't have Tea Party numbers, but we got numbers. We might not have the numbers right now to get our policy priorities passed and signed by the president, but we certainly have numbers to get media attention. We certainly have numbers to agitate. We certainly have numbers to organize. We certainly have numbers to make things go viral. Bernie Sanders, basically by himself with some groups, got the richest man in the world to raise the minimum wage during a 6-month shaming campaign. That was Bernie Sanders, the same person that a lot of people are calling a sellout right now. Go ask the workers of Amazon if they think Bernie's a sellout. Go ask the workers of Disney if they think Bernie is a sellout, who helped get Disney a $15 minimum wage. That's why I think it's like a little extreme. Okay, you don't agree with some things he's doing right now, or not doing, but don't forget all the good either. We have the movement behind us, and by the way, if Bernie, AOC, and these figures that I talked about would not only organize the strikes I'm talking about, but would start publicly going after Pelosi. I'm not saying ignore Trump. Obviously go after Trump. He is recklessly, it's like Glenn Beck is the president right now. He's acting like, oh, coronavirus it's getting better and go back to work and everything's fine. Of course we go after Trump. But Trump is in office because of the Democratic Party and because of the lack of an opposition to the Republicans. So you can't get rid of the Republican extremism. You can't get rid of the Trumps without first overtaking this party. There's different arguments. You either overtake it inside or you do a third party. I'm not getting into that right now. But cooperation so that we could get task forces and lowering the Medicare age to 60. Okay, if we're moving at that pace, then nothing substantial is going to happen for the progressive movement. And beyond the progressive movement, the American people in my lifetime. I'm 33. God willing, I live till 90, 95. But if this is the pace we're working at, I'm getting the hell out of here in a few years. It is time for a hostile. If we can't take over the Democratic Party right now, we could certainly crack the wall of the Democratic Party right now. And you're not going to do that by calling her mama bear. I'm talking to you, AOC. You're not doing that, Bernie, by task forces and, getting the Democratic Party platform more progressive, which, by the way, I had Nomiki Konst on yesterday. She was on the platform committee in 2016. She told me yesterday, it's bullshit. It's stupid. It doesn't mean anything. This is somebody that was on the platform committee They are rolling over the progressives right now. And the only way to actually seize power is to do it in a hostile manner. And by the way, I'm not talking about violence, let's be very clear. And I'm also not equating to our struggle right now to the civil rights movement. But Martin Luther King didn't get power and the Voting Rights Act and those things through task forces. And I think healthcare is a civil right. And I think planetary destruction is a civil right. I think a lot of these are civil rights issues. He didn't get it through task forces and, making some platforms more equal. Thank you. Oh my God, Debbie Wasserman Schultz just donated $5 from Debbie. Thank you, DWS. I hope you lose in November. Kat, $10. Thank you. We are now at less than $800 away from $102,000. Keep it coming if we can. Keep it coming if we can. So that's my rant. I disagree with this task force. I think it's ridiculous. If they're making secret promises behind the scenes that we don't know about, I'm happy to have egg on my face if somehow Nina Turner is being chosen as vice president and Bernie's just not letting it out of the bag, and that's why he has bent the knee like this. If it's for Nina Turner to be vice president, I will come on the air and I'll have egg on my face. If it's for Stephanie Kelton to be Treasury Secretary, I will come on the air with some egg on my face. But what we see right now is not outside organizing, and you can't have an outside-inside game. Yes, you do need some inside game, but you cannot have that without aggressive outside actions. Remember, the media covered when AOC protested with sunrise movements outside of Pelosi's office. The Green New Deal, the fact that climate change town halls even happened during the primary and climate change became a topic was because AOC actively agitated with the sunrise movement against the Democratic Party establishment. That has disappeared. And it's not just on AOC. I would say Rashida Tlaib needs to do some more agitating. You're an organizer, goddammit, start acting like one. You're an activist, goddammit, start acting like one. By the way, when we break a massive story on Flint, how about tweeting about it, Congresswoman Tlaib? Just keeping it real. Thank you, Steady Drummer 499 in the super chat. Ro Khanna, enough with the pleasantries. They're not going to do what you want. And lastly, I will say, if the reason you are not organizing, if the reason you are not speaking out forcefully against these corporate bailouts that Mitch McConnell and Nancy Pelosi are pushing through, and lobbyist bailouts and dark money group bailouts and all of this hideous bullshit, if the reason you're not doing it is because I'm talking to you, Bernie, AOC, Rashida Tlaib, Ro Khanna, Pramila Jayapal, Ilhan Omar, Mark Pocan, keep filling them in if I'm missing anyone, is because you've been gaslit into silence because you don't want to be blamed if Joe Biden loses to Trump. Well, folks, look at the polls. Without you speaking up, without you doing anything, without any aggression, he's losing by 7 points to one of the worst presidents of all time, with real unemployment at 25%. He's down 7 fucking points without you doing any of that. Under 50, the guy can't crack 40%. So here's a little secret. Free advice. You don't have to hire a consultant. Okay? Free advice. They're going to blame the progressives anyway. Either way, if Biden loses. So why don't you actually start demanding? Why don't you actually start agitating? Why don't you actually start naming names? I think Trump is a dangerous man, and we do need to remove him. But it's not going to happen. That's not the only important thing. We need to think bigger right now than just the November election. We need to seize the opportunity because it's not just millennials and progressives getting laid off. It's not just millennials and progressives losing their health insurance. It's neoliberals who voted for Hillary Clinton and Joe Biden and Barack Obama. It's conservatives, Trump supporters getting laid off and losing their health care. We have the opportunity to not only stir up our base, the progressive movement, but actually bring in the neoliberals who are hoodwinked into voting for Joe Biden and Hillary, and the right-wingers who are hoodwinked into voting for Trump, and these Republicans thinking that they're actual populists when they're just corporate servants and batshit crazy extremists, because the Republican Party is pretty bad too. So, before I go, reminder for the 470 people watching, we are less than an hour and a half, from our members only call. I'm sure we're going to talk about quite a lot of this tonight.
Yeah!
Anat's excited, my wonderful girlfriend. So if you want to get on our members only call tonight, you know the drill. Statuscoup.com/join. Sign up for 16 cents a day. That's $5 a month. Obviously, if you don't have it, because times are tough for a lot of people, we get it. But I think it's a pretty good deal to support real independent journalism. Statuscoup.com/join. If you join before 7:30 Eastern, you will get the link through Zoom to be on the call. It is a video call, but you don't have to be on video if you don't want to be. You could press the mute button for your video, and you'll just be on audio. Jen, do me a favor and call me before I get off. I want you to call me and broadcast it to the masses about the members call. So give me a ring ding so we could tease the members call, because Jen's going to be on it too. This is exciting. Oh, did I miss a super chat? Rafael Rodriguez, $5. People 50 and over should remember 1987 Biden's disgrace run and him being a liar since. Are people who rejected him then okay with that now? Fickle voters. Yes, that's a very good point. America is filled with fickle voters. But I got news for you. These numbers for Biden, MSNBC is not going to go in depth on them. And in fairness, like I said, it's one poll. But 7 points down in those key states, 25% real unemployment, that's pathetic. And I'm sorry, Joe, but doing a cool video eating ice cream with Keegan and whatever his name is ain't going to cut it to get the millennials. Hey, Jen.
Hey.
Why should people join as members before our call tonight? What's going to happen on the call tonight?
Well, the calls are always really exciting. We give away way too much information, share all of our thoughts, the good, the bad, the ugly, the extra good. And also, we answer all of your burning questions. So people ask questions about what we think about policies and politicians, and ask questions about status quo, and just whatever's on your mind, we answer, we laugh, we have a good time. It's always so fun. And I don't think no one else really does it like this. No one else does members calls like we do. And
obviously we'll talk about some behind the scenes business stuff.
Yes, there's lots of behind the scenes business stuff. Like Jordan, before going live, almost had a heart attack because of something I told him that was related to the business. So yeah, join and find out all about that. And it's really, really fun. And $5 a month.
We might be close to obtaining certain information that's pretty juicy.
I am blanking on what that is.
I called you about it a little earlier.
Oh, yes. Okay. Definitely juicy information. I'm very curious as to how you're going to reveal anything at all about that. I would be shocked.
Well, I think I think if I was a consumer right now, pretty suspenseful to see if Jordan will bite his tongue or let cats out of the bag that he shouldn't.
Jordan often makes me very nervous about these members.
And could you criticize me? I just realized I referenced myself in the third person, which I don't like to do.
Oh, yeah. Shame.
All right, statuscoup.com/join. Members call in less than an hour and a half. I hope to see everybody there. Bye-bye, Jen.
And once you join for just as low as $5 a month, I will send you a special invitation to this members call. So you'll get it right away. I've sent it out to members already, but you will get a special link.
Jen,
so join now. It's so fun.
Let's do a sneak peek because I wanted to ask you something.
Okay.
I have a friend who is making company logo masks.
Oh,
And he
fun.
told me we could get 50 for $300. So let's say, I think I can get him down a little bit. But let's say 50 for $300, 100 for $500. When I go in the field, I'm probably going to wear a mask for a while. So do you think that would be a good membership perk for masks? Or do you think that's kind of lame?
Well,
Status Coup masks?
It's definitely not lame. I think it's cool, but I don't know because we don't have anyone to do the shipping.
Well,
So,
my girlfriend... No, I'm kidding.
I don't think a nut has agreed to this.
Well, actually, I don't want to reveal where I live, but the post office happens to be fairly close to me. In the past, it was a bit of a pain in the behind, but it's pretty close to me, and we need to get our membership numbers up because coronavirus has really ravaged our membership. Understandably, people have had to cancel. So we'll talk about this on the membership call. We'll get a feel from the members if they want a Status Coup mask.
Yeah, we'll talk about the masks. I think that's such a good idea, and members, that would be amazing. Even if we have to, we'll definitely talk about this. This is the first time I've heard about this.
Henry, bulletproof vests? Jesus, Henry, relax. I'm not going to the RNC convention yet.
Henry. Yeah, so we have so many good ideas, though, about Status Coup, and that's the other thing about the members' calls is we take your ideas, too. We've done a lot of things based on what our feedback from our members. So if you have ideas for Status Coup, if you have questions for us, if you want to get in on all the good gossip, people today, for example, where a couple people were kind of making a fuss in the chat. So get my behind-the-scenes scoop of why I had to boot a couple of people, maybe stuff like that. Anything that's on your mind.
Oh,
that you want to know more about.
I didn't see that drama in the chat. That's exciting.
Oh, there was a lot of drama in the chat today.
Boy, oh boy. All right. Then we will see you hour and a half. Sign up, statuscoup.com/join. By the way, Jen's wrong. Technically, it's $5 a month, but really? 16 cents a day when you break it down. That's 16 cents a day. I mean, I could find 16 cents in my couch. But, of course, not everybody can right now, so we get it. But, hey, do it.
But it helps to break it down that way because when you think about it, 16 cents a day is just, if it's within your budget, is just such a small amount, and it helps us so much. You might think, $5 isn't going to help Status Coup grow. But when you multiply that and keep multiplying that by all the members we have and all the members yet to come, it helps us, it keeps us going. It's so important.
Correct. All right, I've been holding in a pee for about 20 minutes, so goodbye, Jen. We'll talk to you soon.
Bye, members and new members. Join.
And we'll see you 7:30 Eastern, 4:30 Pacific. Make sure to sign up, statuscoup.com/join, and Jen will send you the link. Bye-bye.
Yep, bye.